Hello, everybody, and welcome back to my channel. Today, we are going to be kind of talking a little bit about how I set up my business to be able to run on basically autopilot. If something was to happen and I needed to take time off, what happens to your business? Have you ever thought about that? Have you ever thought about the instance of you possibly getting sick or, something happening where you need time and you're not going to have that time to really, devote to your business and creating content and everything that you do on a daily basis? What happens to your business? Does it just kind of stay where it is? Or are you set up to be able to have that, running on autopilot, basically? So I like to make sure that my business is set up in that way so that I have everything kind of like, just to give you a visual idea, in a big binder that I can literally hand to somebody, say my assistant Kimmy, and obviously somebody that I trust wholeheartedly with my business, but can give that to her and she can just kind of take over for the time period and will be able to do anything that I would be able to do, without having to come to me with lots of questions. So let's dig in. Grab a notebook, grab some coffee or tea or something, and let's just dig right into this. So I have my Trello board pulled up here because I want to talk about my business babysitter guide, which I did talk about in my Trello video as well, just kind of briefly, but this is really kind of that binder that I'm talking about in terms of, what I would give to my assistant Kimmy or, whoever I trust to give that to if something happens in my business. But before we get to that point, I want to just kind of go over some steps and tips in getting your business to the place that everything is basically running on its own. Now, that being said, it really took me kind of, I would say, a solid year or maybe a year and a half to get to that point. It was a learning process and just kind of implementing different systems and educating myself, watching lots of other videos and getting just, little tips and tricks here and there along the way that has really kind of put me into the system that I'm in now to being successful in this process. So what does that look like for me? So basically, to get started, I would say the first thing that you want to do is think about everything that you have currently running with your business. So first, write down every platform that your business is on, everywhere that you have your business kind of showcased or, content that you're creating on a regular basis. So for me, it's newsletters, podcasts, blog, social media, obviously. I think that's it. Newsletter, blog, social media, and then just day-to-day tasks, and my website. So that's where my business is, to the public and, where I need to kind of post regularly or, do daily tasks. So once you have that list down, you know what you need to kind of focus on. The next step, I would say, step 2 is to work on one of those items at a time. I tend to, and this is something I'm still working on, I tend to really try to focus too much on multiple things. So I will basically try to do a newsletter, try to do a blog post, try to, record a podcast episode. And when you're doing that, you're really not able to focus a lot on one thing wholeheartedly because your mind is in 3 different platform directions. So my suggestion and tip, just from my own experience and what I've heard others experience as well, is to focus on creating content for one thing. I have a specific day where I batch my work. I think I did a podcast episode on this, but where I'll take the whole day and really just a full work day and create content and just bang it all out. But I'll start with blog posts. So I'll show you real quick what I did here. So in my blog, dashboard, I went in and I just kind of added new posts, kind of going off the schedule that I want to go off of and just pulling some ideas that I have on my Trello board. So I put the blog post in, I put a scheduled date. So now I know what blog posts I have scheduled for the next month. And this is all of May. So now that you know what I'm posting for the month of May, but you kind of have an idea. And then I'll go in and then write all of the content and just kind of draft it out, outline it, and then do my editing, and then they'll be done because they're already scheduled. I'll do the same thing with my newsletter, which I use MailChimp for. So my newsletter is also scheduled, created, designed, and scheduled all for the month of May. And my podcast is something else I'm working on getting all done before the end of the day today, probably, is, recording those episodes and getting them ready to just launch, for the month of May, for the upcoming few weeks. My social media, I am a little bit lacking on that. And again, that's just something I'm working on, but I'll probably over the next few days work on, digging into my Instagram and my Facebook and see what I need to be posting, alongside of the other content that I've created. So now that you have an idea of all of your content, you're kind of working on, creating that content and scheduling that content. Definitely have some kind of calendar. I love Kat from Creative at Heart and Dear Sweetheart Events. She has a ginormous whiteboard calendar. I'll link to her video that she talks about that on, but it's like an incredible board that I definitely recommend getting because you can, color code and write on the whole month, what you have coming out. And also now I'm starting to implement videos, as you can see. So that will be something else I need to add to my list as well. But, definitely have some kind of calendar that you can visually see an outline of the month and what you have happening so that you can kind of edit and change as you need to. But one tip as a side note, I would say, is definitely have a virtual copy of that calendar. I like to just be able to contact my assistant, Kimmy, and be like, hey, what do we have happening this week? What posts are, going out? What, what's launching? And, so she kind of knows what's happening. And again, that goes into why we're doing this video, is, so that all of that is organized for somebody else to be able to kind of manage if they need to. Okay, so now that we've kind of covered the process to getting yourself organized and on the right track to being able to have your business run on autopilot, I want to dig into basically this binder of a Trello board and just some things that you'll want to have somewhere in one place. Of course, I recommend Trello because it's just so easy to have this one board with just all of this stuff here, ready to go for somebody to check out. And let's get right into it. So obviously, this board was created by another person, so I will link them below as well, who gave me the idea of this board. But so this is just like kind of a helpful little tool on how to use the board itself. We don't really need to cover that. So we'll move on to the next set of cards that I have here. So this is passwords and important numbers. So obviously I have all passwords to everything that somebody would need to get into if they were kind of handling all of the business tasks for my business. Also keep in mind that I have my Events by Coco business as well as my new Chantel and Co. media and Cultivate Purpose podcast. So there's a few different things going on there. So lots and lots of different platforms that are utilized on a regular basis that, really just need to be organized in one spot. And then obviously, my email so that she can respond to emails and things like that. And then we have important contacts. So that would be, obviously my information, her information, anybody that I am in touch with on a regular basis. Also some of our main contacts or, our preferred vendors that she may need to reach, or the contacts for any upcoming clients that she may be taking over. All of that information would be right here. Moving on, brand elements is a section that is important to have as well, because you're going to want to have, obviously, your content. If this person that's holding on to that business for you for the time period needs to create content, you'll want it to obviously be in line with your business. So you'll want to have, fonts, textures, colors that you use for, different things, so that they can keep that branding in line with what you're doing. And then you want to have your workflows. So we'll move over to that. So this also was a learning process for me in getting workflows down. Obviously, being new, you have one or two clients in the beginning. So, you're not really in that mindset of like, this is a business. It's more of like, I'm helping this person with whatever, you're doing. But the moment that I feel I kind of took my mindset into treating my business like a business, I feel like everything changed and it just became more of a process for me. Take a quick sip of water there. So, I started implementing these systems and processes, and they really just transformed my business completely. So all of these types of processes would be here. Our new client onboarding, because obviously if a client comes in, we don't want her not to be able to handle that. So she will know what she needs to do to get that, that client going. And then blog process, and workflow, so that she can do that. Event planning process, obviously that's important as well, specifically for events, because we do have other clients and things happening, other events, style shoots. Just in the instance that anything is needed, we want to make sure that that's here. Oh, I didn't see my label there. Perfect. And then moving over, so any copy that you use on a regular basis, you want to put into this section. So, I have email responses, emails drafted as saved responses in my email, so that you just have to click the list and select the one that you want, whether it be the initial response or a follow-up email or a vendor email. I have all of them added in my email already. So, they're ready to go. And any hashtags that we use when posting on social media will be here. Anything that you specifically have like drafted out, you want to have saved in this section. Next is any FAQs that you feel you get asked a lot. I'm always adding to this, but you want to have those questions answered so that she doesn't have to go to you with those questions. They're just right here and ready to go, and she can follow up with those answers. And then next is any links that you have. So this is important because, you want, obviously, the person that is handling this for you to have everything that they need, readily available. So any links to anything that you have posted, visually to the public in terms of websites, any documents or, content you've created as like freebies or, links to those items that you send out regularly. Like for me, for example, I have a newly engaged guide that I send to new clients. And so that's something that I would link here. Also our onboarding platform, which I use Aisle Planner. We'll want to have links to that, all social media links, and our website dashboard for Squarespace, as well as WordPress, obviously, for blog posts, and our social media planner as well. And then moving on to daily tasks, this is just something that I utilize on a daily basis as it is. My assistant is really just an assistant at this point, very part-time, but I do, work with her on a daily basis with having her do different tasks for my business so that she can kind of get familiar and get that experience. So, I'll schedule different, tasks for her to do. But this is also helpful for if she's running the business, then she knows what has to be done on a day-to-day basis. And then weekly tasks, same kind of deal here. Anything that you do more on a weekly basis as opposed to just a daily basis, you'd want to post here for them. And then next would be courses and workbooks, anything that you have, whether you're product-based, service-based, both, you want to have all of that information here. So any workbooks you've created, any ebooks, any courses you have, you want to have worksheets, anything that you have created, it would be best to kind of link here. And then getting into affiliate links, anything that you have that you are an affiliate for, preferred vendors, communities that you're in that you want or, that you check on a regular basis. So for me, I'm in the Launch Brand Grow community. So that you'll want to make sure that she has access to so she can get in and, continue to communicate with those, fellow community members. Also the Goal Digger podcast Facebook group I'm in. And right now I am in the Jordan Lee Julie Own Your Everyday Launch team. And my community, of course, as well, Cultivate Purpose community. Okay. And same thing here with any copy, content planner, anything that you've scheduled. So I'll be adding that in a bit as well. And then this, I'm not really sure what this is. This just kind of came with the board. So we'll just kind of move that over. And then checklists and labels. So, any checklist, any specific color coding that you use for Trello or, any other random specific checklists, things that they need to know, I would definitely, recommend putting there. So there you have it. That is my Trello board. That is my business babysitter that literally anybody can take and use to run my business if they need to, if something, goes down. Obviously, we hope that nothing like that ever happens, but we want to be prepared in those situations because you just never know. We all know that life throws us curveballs and, things change on a daily basis. So we just want to be prepared so that our businesses don't have to fall to the wayside at all. They can just continue to run and we can take that time that we need to because, hey, sometimes we need that time. And we're allowed to do that. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you found it helpful and just comment below with any questions or any, comments or tips that you have. that you feel work for your business as well. And we'll see you back here real soon.